Hey comic book fans, welcome to Comic Fix, episode 27.3. So in this batch of reviews, it's my final ones for this week, and I'm going to start things off with the Ravagers issue number 7. And in here's the Fairchild's vision of the end. And one thing I gotta say about Ravagers, I said before, this is one of the most unexpected good books that came out of the New 52. And it just has so much potential in there. I do believe that the writer, S.H.A.D.E, has such a great vision for this book, and you definitely get that in this issue. The whole thing starts out where this mysterious woman is watching as the Ravagers versus Ravagers are fighting. And just seeing this scene of the Ravagers finally taking it to the bad Ravagers, it's just so freaking cool. Well, there's a point in there where Fairchild gets hit and she gets knocked out. And this mysterious girl, who we come to find out, she has the power to see into the future and see the paths that it could take. And it could be good, it could be bad. She decides to tell Fairchild exactly what is going to happen with the Ravagers. And what Fairchild sees is something horrifying. She sees the bad side that can happen. And all at this fight at this moment is going to tell where the path of these guys are going to go. And I just love seeing this, the future of them, and just seeing how evil they are. And you're just so stoked to see this. I mean, I'm just like, oh my god, this looks so freaking sick. And just to see the way Beast Boy looks, it's just like, oh, that is so freaking sick. And then we see some more of it, and where the Ravagers, the ones that Fairchild's been training all along, they go up to her and they tell her, we should thank you. You have done more for us than any of Nowhere has ever done. You're the one who trained the ultimate badasses and the most evil people, and we thank you. And then they chop off her head. I'm just like, oh my god, that is so freaking sick. I mean, there's been so much buildup of the Ravagers, of the Fairchild's group running away from the Ravagers. And in the last couple issues, the Ravagers are finally decided to take the fight back to the Ravagers. And I loved it that they took the name of their enemies. So it's almost kind of like the X-Men, or the good mutants versus the bad mutants. I mean, it can be a little confusing, but it's just so good. I love it though. And then we come back into the now, where the mysterious female tells Fairchild that at this point, whatever future is going to happen at this point. And it could be good, it can be bad. And what happens in here is just something that I just did not see happening. You see in here that Tara is just terrified of this fight that she's seen. Fairchild goes up to her and basically slaps her and basically tells her, get your head in the game, we need you. And then Tara snaps out of it, and she shows how powerful she actually is. And the power that she possesses is so freaking powerful and is almost godlike. And it takes out Rose and Warblades like that. I mean, just seeing her finally getting out of her shell and showing how powerful she actually is freaking amazing. And as the Warblade and Rose are down on the ground, basically they said, okay, we beat them, we don't have to be afraid of them anymore. Tara goes up to him and says, no, we need to finish this right now. If we were down just like how they are right now, they would go and kill us no matter what. And so Tara takes it into her power to do the dirty job. And I mean, just reading this is just so intense. You know, these kids have been on the run for so long, and to finally see them finally taking action and seeing where they're gonna go, it makes you horrified. And then even the girl who saw this vision of what the future could behold, she knew that this is the worst outcome, even worse than what we saw in the vision that Fairchild had. And the child tells Fairchild that there's something worse is coming, and if I show you more of the future, it could be worse off for us. So she just runs away, and Fairchild has to deal with her Tara, who is now just seems pure evil. And then we get to the point where, at the end of the issue, where Fairchild is talking to, I forget what his name is. I forget what his name is. But she's talking to this guy, and basically she tells him, I am afraid of my group. And that's where the book ends. And you're just like, holy cow. I love this issue. This issue had so much action in there, so much character development. And the way that this book is going to go is going to be freaking amazing. And I'm interested to see how this outcome changes everything that we know about the Ravagers. Because these people, these teens, were built to be just killers, and to see that the prime instinct is to be killers is just so freaking cool. I don't know where this storyline's going to go, but I just predict this will be going to some cool places. And if you're ever wanting just a kick-ass comic with some really cool just action, look no further than the Ravagers. It has great action, great character development, and it's just freaking awesome. I love this comic to death. This was one of the best issues out there, and I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. And I cannot wait to see where Tara goes, because she could go evil, she could become, I don't know. That's the cool thing about this comic. You just don't know. And Will Fairchild, as I believe, will actually leave the group and try to go at it alone to stop Nowhere. So some good things coming out of there. The next book I have is Green Lantern Corps, issue number 15, Rise of the Third Army. Whoopie-doo. Because Rise of the Third Army, again, just had a page or two, and that's it. But the main story is that Guy Gardner, he has been taken out of the Green Lantern Corps, and he's been brought back to Earth. And how does he deal with it? Well, he doesn't take it very good. I mean, he is just so heartbroken over what happened. He just has so much anger in him. And just to see the anger that he has, he doesn't understand what happened to him. And it's just so cool to see Guy Gardner this way. I mean, Guy Gardner, you know he's an ass, but he loved his job. I mean, he loved being the Green Lantern Corps, and he was one of the Green Lanterns that would not take no bullshit, and he knew right from wrong. He would go with his gut, and no matter if it hurt somebody or not, he was going to do the right thing. And just to see him just this heartbroken, it's just so sad. But to see the character development that happens in this issue with Guy Gardner, there's a point in there where he calls his dad, and his brother picks up, and basically he's just getting to see how his family is. And he's talking to his brother as he is outside of the house, and he just cannot help but he cannot tell his brother that he's not part of the Green Lantern Corps anymore, and that he's just a regular person. And just to get these dialogue scenes, it's just so freaking cool. I mean, the stuff that happens with the father, you feel for Guy Gardner. And Guy Gardner's not one of those guys that you can actually feel sorry for, just the way how he is an ass all the time. You actually feel sorry for him in this issue. Well, what does he decide to do? He decides to take the fight like how Batman would, and go and protect his city. And since everyone knows his face, knows that he is a Green Lantern, or was, he goes and pretends like he still is, and that he's just taking the fight back to them, and tells all the villains, or the bad guys, don't you let me use my ring. And it's just, it is a little bit over the top at some points, but it was so worth it. And then the outcome of all that, of him taking the fight to the villains and his city and seeing the outcome of that, was really freaking cool. I really did enjoy this issue. And there's a lot of people who don't really like this series, but I do. It's one of Peter Tomasi's, one of his really good series. I think it's been pretty consistent at like a 3.5. And that's what we get out of this one. There is some little parts in there with Magog getting putting himself back together. He was the planet that was a Green Lantern Corps. You got a little bit of parts of him, but other than that, it was all Guy Gardner. And one thing I would like to actually see with the Green Lantern Corps is for it to actually be more about the Green Lantern Corps instead of the two, John Stewart and Guy Gardner. because there's so much potential in getting some cool characters in the Green Lantern Corps book. I mean, it should be more about the Corps instead of these two guys. But all in all, I would say it's a 3 out of 5. Green Lantern Corps issue number 15. Just the Rise of the Third Army parts just bog everything down. It's like, I don't care anymore. And why should I care? I mean, it's just, they say that this is a big old event, or it's the prologue to the event to come, but really, I just don't care. And if I didn't get some good storytelling, I would just drop most of the Green Lantern Corps, or Green Lantern books altogether. Now, there's one book that I wanted to try out, because I knew that, oh, what's his name? I forget. He's such a bad writer and bad artist that I don't even want to think about his name. But he wrote Grifter for quite a while, and now he's off the book. And I saw on there, Suicide Squad's in this book. I absolutely love Suicide Squad, so I thought, I'll give this book a try. And let me tell you, this book was pretty freaking bad. We got Grifter, who's been teleported to Belle Reve, and who's in Belle Reve but the Suicide Squad, and so the Suicide Squad have to go and take down Grifter. And the scenes with Grifter in there is just, it's just terrible. I mean, the way that the Suicide Squad are ran, just very poorly ran, poorly characterized. And the questions I really had is, in Suicide Squad, in the past like 3 issues, Deadshot has been dead. So when does this take place? And then we see in there Black Spider, and he's not in there anymore. I mean, he is he's a traitor. So you just got all these weird little scenes in there with the characters, and there's a part in there where the Suicide Squad finally take down Grifter, and what do? They just start kicking him. I mean, it was just dumb. I mean, I just hated the artwork. The artwork was very simplistic, and there was no real detail to anything. And then the writing was just bland as hell, and there was usually just one word bubble in for each panel, and you just definitely tell that this writer doesn't want to do this book. I mean, he wants to work for DC Comics probably, Frank Thierry, but this book was just terrible. And then the parts with Amanda Waller are just equally as bad. It's where Amanda Waller gets the job to go and get this unknown governor's daughter away from the demonite something or another cult. Just some dumb stuff. The only great part in there is when the Suicide Squad finally get Grifter and they have him all tied up. Sorry. And they got him all tied up, and Amanda Waller comes in there and says, Grifter, don't you dare use your telekinesis to untie you, because these shackles that we have you in are special shackles, and they won't work on your telekinesis. So Grifter just sits there. And then at the end of the interrogation with Amanda Waller, she just looks at him, gives him some paperwork about the Demonites cult, and she tells him, "Oh yeah, there's no such thing as telekinesis shackles, or anti-telekinesis shackles," and just that scene right there made me laugh, and I think that was one of the funniest scenes in the whole entire books that I've read this week. So in the end, Grifter is not a book that I'm ever going to pick up again, and I know it's going to be dropped, or it's going to be canceled, and I'm glad it is, because I just don't feel that this book has any direction whatsoever. The Suicide Squad were poorly written. Some characters that are in Suicide Squad at this point are dead, or supposedly dead, and just I got nothing out of this book. So it gets a half a star out of 5. Only reason why it gets half a point is because of that whole shackle scene, which was really freaking funny. Alright, we got 2 more books for this week, and this next book that I'm going to be doing is Superboy, Hell on Earth, issue number 15. Superboy has been beaten by hell, or hell, as they like to say on Comic Vine, which I love, and he has been beaten. Superman hears that his organs are starting to fail, and so he gets Superboy, has to bring him to his sanctuary. And there's some weird scenes, though. Is that Superboy's supposed to be knocked out and just supposed to be dying, Well, as they're going to the Fortress of Solitude, you get this whole context of Superboy thinking, oh wow, this is Superman, and wow, what am I going towards? I would have loved it, this whole text right here, to be of Superman thinking about, oh my god, there's a clone of me, and what the hell that means for him. I just thought it was very strange that they would do that scene as Superboy was dying, and Superboy's dying after all, and why would he be thinking all this stuff? And, you know, he's knocked out, and it was just some strange things. Well, I do know that Superboy does have his telekinesis powers, but it was just a little weird, I thought. I love, though, in this issue, we get to see Superman's intelligence finally come through, and him looking into Superboy and seeing his DNA, seeing that he has two parts, and then there's a third part coming in that's just destroying everything that is Superboy. And he gets the idea that the only way to save him is for him to put the armor that is the Kryptonian armor that Superman wears onto Superboy. And is basically like a cast until Superman can figure out a way to fix Superboy's DNA. And I don't know how long Superman's not going to have his suit, but I just love the interaction between these two. And how the suit is basically making Superboy feel blind, because when he puts on the suit, it's just messing with his telekinesis. It may not be just the suit, it may be what's happening to his DNA. And there's some just great scenes in here between Superboy and Superman, and I just love those scenes a lot. And then hell comes in there, and you know that shit's gonna hit the fan. There's some great character moments in this book, and I really have enjoyed Hell on Earth, and that's surprising to say because I've not enjoyed anything with the Superman family book line except for Supergirl. But Hell on Earth is definitely bringing the Superman family books together and making it feel like they have a direction finally. And it's going to be interesting to see how this whole story arc is going to play out. And I got Supergirl today, so I don't have to worry about waiting a whole entire week to figure out what's going on. So, Superboy issue number 15, I'm going to give 3 out of 5. Good storyline, just good character moments. I cannot wait to see what happens with Superboy and his armor. And I'm finally caring about Superboy, and that hasn't happened in a long time. Now, last book of the week is one book that I'm sad to see go. I think it only has like 2 issues left, and that's Frankenstein, Agent of S.H.A.D.E. Actually, I think it's one more issue after the rot. And people who read this book are really sad to see this book go. But I understand. The S.H.A.D.E. Organization has been just destroyed. Father Time is dead, and just everything that was built for S.H.A.D.E. is just gone. And I understand now why Frankenstein would actually be Angelously Dark. And I'm glad that the character is still going to be written by Jeff Lemire, who, when he was doing his stuff, Jeff Lemire just did an awesome job with Frankenstein. And then Matt Kindig came in. I thought the first couple issues was Matt Kindig trying to get a feel for Frankenstein, but then once he got the feel, it was just awesome. And then the artist, Alberto Potenziali, his artwork is just so grand in this book. Like, all the set pieces is just so great. I just like the way this art flows, how the panels flow together. I mean, just some good stuff. I mean, this team right here, I wish would just go on to a different book and just start doing some magnificent things. Because a lot of people, they didn't read this series, because they thought, oh, Frankenstein, I never heard of this character before, and why the hell would I want to read this about this character? Let me tell you, this series has been freaking amazing from the get-go. It has so much personality and it's giving something different to all of us readers. And one thing I love is individuality, and Frankenstein Agent of S.H.A.D.E. had individuality. The storyline is that Frankenstein is going after the last piece to his master's secret weapon that can destroy the rod. And when the last piece is in this Goliath, or this beast, and for what Frankenstein does to defeat him is just so freaking cool. It just seems something out of just high fantasy, and it's just so cool. I mean, I just love all the set pieces in this book. And then you see, all right, there's one thing about Animal Man, is that in the last Animal Man issue, we saw Frankenstein had his own army of Frankenstein people. And we figured out how he got all that in this issue. This issue was very quick read, and it just gave so much context into what happened in Animal Man. And it was beautiful. I love the action scenes. The action scenes were so quick in this issue. The artwork is so freaking beautiful. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite artists that is working in comics right now. I mean, he just has a look all of his own, and just how big he makes everything feel. It feels like a big old action or summer blockbuster. I enjoyed this issue a lot. It had a lot for me, and if you haven't picked up the series, go get it in the trade that came out a couple months ago, and then go get the other issues, and you won't be disappointed whatsoever. Frankenstein has so much potential, so much heart, that I'm sad to see it go. But I do know that Frankenstein will be in Jeff Lemire's hand in Justice League Dark, and who knows how long that will last with Frankenstein. Because one thing I did notice with the Justice League Dark, there's been characters coming in and out, in and out, in and out. So I don't know how long Frankenstein will actually be in there. But I'm just glad that he's going to be going somewhere. Because this character has so much heart and so much potential to be great. So that's it for this week's reviews. I don't think I gave this one a score either. Frankenstein Agent of S.H.A.D.E. issue number 15 will get a 4 out of 5. Just because how great his art is. I just cannot talk. I love his art. So this is the last episode for this week. I'm sorry if I ranted a little bit or if I got a little bit off track. So this is Dave from the Comic Fix saying I'll see you guys next time with my comic load for this week. See you guys next time.